I've experienced everything from full-blown apparitions to black masses in the corners.
That's all I thought, and I thought it was my back kept rubbing, and so we took it off.
A little colder. Can you do 42? 42. Look at that. 42. Thank you. If you were not executed, how about that? Turn it on if you were not okay. Right behind me is the old Montana State Prison. It started serving as Montana's territorial prison when built in 1871. Now, this facility from the outset was wrought with issues. Little funding, outdated facilities from the start, more importantly, overcrowding. In 1885, in fact, 28 cells had been constructed, 120 inmates incarcerated. The facility garnered national attention in 1959 when an explosive riot resulted in prisoners taking control of the facility for 36 hours. Led by inmates Lee Smart and Jerry Miles, the riot resulted in the death of 3, including the deputy warden. The riot eventually ended with the Montana National Guard storming the facility, but not until after firing a World War II era bazooka into the side of one of these towers, Tower 1, simultaneously firing a Thompson submachine gun into a window like this one, that where Miles and Smart were known to be. 3 bazooka blasts ultimately hitting the facility, the guard taking control when Miles and Smart knew that they were done, apparently killed in a murder-suicide on the top of the tower. The facility served as Montana's primary penal institution until 1979. That's when it was ultimately shut down. The prisoners are moving just a few miles down the road. But while the inmates may have left the facility, it seems not everything did. Horrific crimes led to incarceration in the old Montana State Prison. Men were executed here. In fact, eventually the state built a transportable gallows. That gallows still resides inside these walls. They're walls that we are going to be inside tonight. The old Montana State Prison has been called one of the most haunted locations in the Northwest. People hear things. People feel things. They're scratched. Things move. Tonight, about 8 o'clock, I'm going through these doors. They're going to shut them behind me. We're not leaving till 5 a.m. What are we going to see? What are we going to hear? I don't know, but you're coming along with me. Let's go find out. Decided to present this largely in chronological order. Some really exciting stuff happened later in the night, but we don't want to jump right to that. I want to show you kind of how things progressed. And right here you see us walking into the prison. Now this, a large group tour. Starting out the night, there were about 50 people. So it made recording any kind of sounds very, very difficult. There was too much interference, frankly, to get good sound. But we actually recorded a couple of things. This right at the very beginning, as people are just sort of exploring the surroundings before we even met together. Listen, you can hear a whisper underneath the guy talking right in front of me.
Bumping.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's not scary. There are dummies in here.
Side of it, it's very haunted, extremely haunted. I've experienced everything from full-blown apparitions to black masses in the corners, to demonic entities. Hellhounds have come through, and of course all of the inmates that are still remaining here will come out and rear their head quite a bit. The wardens are still here from all the riots and the attacks that happened. They come through as well.
So,
can you knock for us? Can you make a loud noise? Let my friends know you're here.
Was that one? Living, breathing person, anybody?
That was right behind me.
Was it?
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm right here.
it's hard to validate noises in a group of 50 people. That said, there were some whispers throughout the rest of the evening. Many of them really sort of hard to pick out, so we're not including a lot of them here. But this one was interesting. We were in the old chapel trying to listen to some EVP sessions that different people did spread throughout the building. They would go out, they'd come back, they'd play the tapes. Well, right before play was pushed on the recorder, there's a whisper. It's really quick. I can't tell what it's saying, but there is something there. So while one group is waiting here in the chapel, two girls come back after having their EVP session cut short. I'll play the video for you here. It's interesting. We've had some whispers. This is the first sort of real paranormal activity we've seen. It's not the last. Look at this.
We asked, what is your name? What did you do? Do you have been in prison? We stood right in front of that door, the cell door, and we asked who was behind it. So we heard people behind it. And then I asked, did you just touch my back? And then I started breaking so bad, so I put my back down. He stopped it.
Mackenzie unfortunately got scratched on the back. And you can see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all I thought. And I thought it was my back kept rubbing, and so we took it off.
So here I am in the hallway of the administration wing. Too much sound contamination here, really, to pick up anything useful. But interestingly, walked into one of the offices back there and hit with a wall of, well, I didn't have video running. I had audio. I'll just let you listen to it.
Okay.
Does it smell like beer in here?
Yes, okay, good. When you started, it smells like a Bud Light here. It did not smell at all. I was going to ask, so you're using your senses, what do you get in here? And as soon as you walk in, you can smell.
Tower 1, I believe. That's where Miles and Smart hold up during the riot. Okay, so we are in the top of the tower. This Tower 1, they call it the Death Tower. This is where Miles and Smart hold up, and ultimately murder-suicide ended that. We can hear other people down below, so we gotta be a little bit quiet. This is where it happened though, on the top floor. We've got some Zoom microphones going. That lets us hear real time. Hopefully some EVPs, so we'll go ahead and ask those. Turn off the light. Is there anybody up here? So this is, I believe, one of two locations called Siberia. They would throw prisoners in here just naked in the winter. All right, we're gonna head back into maximum security. That's not creepy. So now, in maximum security, I sat in solitary for a while earlier. Nothing happened, but we had a lot of people over here. Right now, I think I might be the only one in this maximum security wing. I gotta admit, it's a little bit creepy, just being the only one here. We'll see what happens. What do you think, guys? I mean, so this is maximum security in this one. This is what you were looking at. Like a 6x8 cell. This place is, well, I can see where it's pretty stark. There's sort of a sense of empty. You know, I mean, it's a prison, right? I mean, it's it's not built for comfort, but this was built on a shoestring budget. And so there are no amenities in here. The winters here must have been brutal. Below zero. No real heating to speak of. Some places in general population had like wood burning stoves, but reports of the wood smoke mixed with the buckets of waste and an overcrowded jail full of unwashed inmates. Can you imagine? Just the stench. Must have been something. Yeah, there's definitely a feeling over this place. I haven't had any experiences myself yet tonight, but you can't help but feel a little bit of the despair that most people in here must have felt. And it's dark. And this place is definitely dark. Why isn't it that people walk in here and they run out screaming every night, right? Like, why is it a roller coaster and an ebb and a flow?
I mean, it depends on the person themselves, their energy, their belief system. Are they here to get that very first experience, or have they had those experiences and they're looking for that much more? It's all up to the spirits. It's what they want to do. So it comes and goes. Sometimes people believe it has to do with the weather. Sometimes it's too cold and they can't get enough energy. I don't believe that. I think it's just all on their terms. Sometimes maybe they're just like, hey, we just don't want to interact with you tonight.
Okay, so now we are in the, what used to be the library. Apparently the guards used to pretty much turn a blind eye to what was happening in here. So there was a lot of stuff going on in here. And actually, this has only been open for about a month or so. They've opened it up because of COVID. They actually opened it up apparently and did some work in here. But this has not been open to the public. Say, there's a feeling in this space. It's weirdly, it's colder in here. Like I'm getting the shivers right now. I actually have shivers running down my arms. And shouldn't frankly be possible with the coat that I'm wearing. I'm walking around outside just fine. It's not cold. Not in this jacket. You know, I'm not feeling the cold. And this is inside. I spent time in the cell tower. A little bit exposed to the elements. Spent some time in maximum security, which was likewise a little bit exposed. This is inside. And it's cold in here. Not over here, but at this door. There's cold spots, right? I just walked through another one. It is a different feeling in here than, frankly, a lot of other places, even the maximum security. It had a feel to it, but not, I don't know, it's different. It's sad, all these posters. I'm missing runaway kids. So at this point, I realized I could get a digital thermometer and we could try and validate that feeling. I was getting goosebumps up and down my arms and down my back, and nothing else was cold. And it was just weird. It happened in certain spots, particularly in a doorway and in a back office area. So 54 degrees. It's about what it was inside the building. And then I go over to where I was feeling it the most. I'm going to show you some time lapse of this because the whole thing went for about 15 minutes. Can you make it colder? Can you make it go to 46? Can you drop this temperature? You're doing it a little bit more. 46.0. Look at, thank you. How about 42? Can you make it go that low? 42, can you do that? I was asking, can you lower the temperature? And it lowered temperature. I was giving out specific numbers and it would hit it. By the time I left, we had got down to 28 degrees. That should not be possible to go from 54 to 28 degrees in under 15 minutes inside a room. 42, look at that, 42, thank you. And you're holding it there, that's amazing. That's amazing. Can you get it to 32 degrees? That's freezing, right? It's 32 degrees. Would you be able to drop it that far? Can you get it to 32.0? 32.0. Now try and keep it there for a minute. So at this point, I mean, it dropped well below freezing. It was wild. I was getting ready to leave. And you'll hear here, I say something about, did you just touch me? I think I just... Why that didn't make a bigger impact, I don't know, other than I was getting to the point of being pretty tired. I mean, this was pushing 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was so focused on the temperature that I don't know, almost like somebody walked behind and just grabbed a little bit of hair. I don't have a little bit of hair to tug. I mean, you got to get right in there on my scalp even to get it, because I cut it pretty short just the other day. And I was wearing a hat. How somebody would pull it was right back here on the back of my head. I don't know, but I felt something. You just touched me. I felt something. I'll get out of your space. We're in the theater now. Sound-wise, we're going to get a lot of problems with the pigeons in here. On cue. The resting place of what they call the Galloping Gallows. Named that really because here at the prison was where they executed Montana's death row inmates. They then built this to travel the state. So this is not a replica. This is the gallows that I'm getting dripped on. This is the gallows that executed I don't know how many men. But this theater was the pride and joy of the warden, one of the wardens. Had this built to make it better for the inmates here. He did try to do that. And at some point, there was a fire. And this theater was a loss. Ultimately, they determined that it was arson. There was some type of incendiary device used. But they never did find out the name of the culprit. Whoa. Thank you. Did you just turn that on? I didn't have my tape recorder going to prove that you did it. I didn't have my video. So now I'm going to need you to turn it off. There you go. Thank you. This turned on before I started this video, guys. It all of a sudden just turned on. It hasn't done it all night. I'm not touching it. Can you turn that on again so people can see you turn it on? I'm going to share this with a lot of people. Can you turn it on? I know you already did once. I know it probably takes some effort. Can you do it again? We'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep watching it. You keep working on that. You turn that on again, just like what you just did. I'd love to see it one more time, please. I wasn't looking at it when it happened. There you go. Thank you. So this went on for like 12 or 13 minutes. It went on for some time. And we looked at the Maglite after, tried to figure out, was there a short? There's nothing wrong with this flashlight. It didn't do it all night. Before that, it didn't do it the rest of the night. After, it was simply turning off and on very often after we asked it to, after we asked a question. Like I said, this went on a while. Let me show you some of the highlights. Did you die on this gallows? Turn on the light if you were executed. What did you do if you were? I want to tell your story. If you were not executed, how about that? Turn it on if you were not okay. Can you turn it off if you were a prisoner? Oh, there you go. Okay. So you were a prisoner here. Turn it on if you died in prison. Make that light go on again for me. Are you here because you enjoyed the theater? Maybe you just enjoyed the theater here at the prison. Okay, there we go. Thank you. So you enjoyed the theater. I know the warden tried to do something nice here. At least some of the wardens. They tried to make it better, right? This burned down, though. Yeah, is it going? Are you turning it off? Turn it off. Okay. Okay. This burned. Are you going to tell me your name? Did you appreciate the warden that was here at that time? That built this theater? Okay. So this was the pattern for a while, and then the light came on and it just stayed on for some time. So I threw one more question out. Well, watch the light and listen close. I think we got a double answer. Maybe you're done. Done. Maybe you're done.
A lot of inmates didn't know how to live on the outside world, right? So many were released, actually did another crime just to come back in. This was a home to them. This was normal to them. This was their safe place, oddly, but it was their safe place because they didn't know how to function outside of these walls.
So well, there you go. That's That's not intimidating. This cell belonged to a man, I believe, who he murdered someone. When they found him, he had the victim's fingers in a leather pouch around his neck. That's the kind of guy we're talking about here. And it's sad that he was a devil worshiper here in the prison. It's a little intimidating to come into this cell, I gotta be honest. Wow, all right. Some bucolic scenes for a devil worshiper, but
On the ghost hunt shows that you watch on TV, they record for 2.5 weeks, and then they squash it into a 45-minute show where we have one night to investigate. So patience. I would just say don't take it too seriously. Experiment with different types of equipment and think outside the box with your questions.
It's 5:02 a.m. I'm out. Now begins going through all the audio to see what we recorded, all the things we've done in the past. That's where it was on the audio. But definitely some weird things in here tonight. I mean, we had the room that just reeked like beer. I'm told that's not normal in here. That's not a typical smell. We had the Maglite going on and off. I had the temperature changes. So I don't know if we heard anything, but we saw stuff, we felt stuff, we smelled stuff. It was an interesting night. So not as much audio as I anticipated, but in retrospect, kind of makes sense, right? I mean, wide open building, echoey. There were other people there for a large chunk of the evening. It was open to the elements in a lot of spots, so we had wind, we had rain dripping, there were pigeons. I am pretty sure I heard a growl at one point climbing up above the 4th tier. I didn't get a chance to walk around up there, but they tell me that next time I can. And I think there will be a next time. We've got to go back. We've got to try and get some more answers. So maybe we'll do this again next Halloween, or just maybe we'll go hunting in another of Montana's haunted locations. Thanks for riding along with me, guys. I sure appreciate it. And like the man said, I think we're done.